Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Want to talk about two quick stories pertaining to the NBA Finals. One is LeBron James tying Magic Johnson's NBA Finals triple-double record. Show you why that's so interesting in the 71st season of the NBA. And then also I want to talk about this news Monday out of Cleveland that a radio station has a song recorded by LeBron James and Kevin Durant, a rap track supposedly from 2011. We'll get to both of these stories and why they're interesting. Let's start with the triple-double. In Game 2 of the NBA Finals, LeBron James tied Magic Johnson, who had the record with 8 career triple-doubles in the NBA Finals, the championship series. If you don't follow basketball, done a lot of work on LeBron James's triple-doubles and how they often foreshadow what the outcome of his season will be. I said before these finals began that if LeBron James got 2 triple-doubles in them, he would likely win the finals. So now he needs 1 more. And the reason I said if he got 2 is because that would put his career total at 57, and NBA Finals in Gematria sums to 57. So he's 1 away from the mark. He came in with 55 career. He's now at 56. 1 more puts him at 57. That said, I could be wrong about that. We could see LeBron James get another triple-double, and his team might still lose. He might go down in the NBA Finals with 57. And since I made that initial remark, more has come to light. The return of Steve Kerr, the ghost ship story, the warehouse fire in Oakland being brought back. Within those stories, there's been more clues, and they have pointed to the number 25. 25. If the West wins the NBA Finals, it'll be their 25th championship. Game 4 is a date with 25 numerology. So is Game 7. And I really do think we're either going to see the Warriors sweep the Cavs in Game 4 or close out in Game 7 in Oracle, earning the 25th championship for the West on either of those dates with 25 numerology. Again, in the NFL season, we saw the AFC win its 25th Super Bowl, and I talked about how it was all about 25 for the Patriots well before the Super Bowl was played. 25 stood out even more in the NFL season. But in the time we've been doing this, we see how the storylines connect from season to season. 25 big in the NFL. We have every reason to think 25 will be huge in these NBA Finals. And 25 connects to the Warriors this year. So anyhow, him tying Magic Johnson's NBA Finals record with 8 triple-doubles, check this out. He did this in Game 2 on June 4th, exactly 71 days before Magic Johnson's 58th birthday. He's going to turn 58, Magic Johnson. He's currently at 57. We just said NBA Finals equals 57. Last year, the Cavs won 57 games in the regular season on the way to winning the NBA Finals. With regards to Magic Johnson about to turn 58, triple-double equals 58, like Freemasonry, like secret society. LeBron did this 71 days before his 58th birthday, and this NBA season is the 71st NBA season. Again, it began October 25th, 2016, a date with 71 numerology. That was also Game 1 of the World Series, where the Chicago Cubs had not been in the World Series for 71 years. Not a coincidence. All sports scripting, as I've been explaining. LeBron James, professional athletes, Magic Johnson, it's been going on for a long time. These are athletic actors selling out the fans who spend so much money and energy on these games. And for all of you who hate me for exposing this, I'm just trying to help you out. I think ultimately what you guys really hate is that you've been duped. And instead of admitting that to yourselves, you just want to get angry at me. I'm the person trying to free you up from the lies. So anyway, 71st season, big tribute to Magic Johnson. And you know what? Who's normally guarding LeBron James? Draymond Green? You know who Draymond Green is? That's the son of Magic Johnson. And that's a good transition to what we're going to talk about next, the rap song, because Draymond Green wears number 23 like LeBron, and he was the 35th overall pick of the respective NBA draft he was in. Remember, King James equals 35. Now we're going to talk about Durant and LeBron. Durant number 35, LeBron number 23, and their supposed rap song. Yesterday, in Cleveland, Jewish radio host put out the information that there's a rap track that they have their hands on. They put out a tweet, and they said if their tweet gets 1 million reshares, they'll release this song that they have their hands on that was recorded in 2011 by these two NBA stars that have a lot in common, as I've been talking about. If you missed the video I put out this weekend on the real King James and LeBron, a.k.a. the basketball King James, talked about the relationship between these two men and what they have to do with history and the basketball court being used as a theater stage to replay out history. Notice the word rap in Gematria sums to 35. All year, this number's been put in front of our face, telling us that the NBA Finals will be the Cavs and the Warriors for the third straight time. I said this the date that Durant signed with the Warriors, July 4th, 2016. Again, Durant wears 35 because his high school coach dropped dead at age 35, and I guarantee you his coach was murdered for his future career. This is what goes on in this sick world. These stars, from music to movies to sports to politics, they have people drop dead who are ritual sacrifices for these people's planned careers. All of this is needless. It's all part of the sick, satanic, Zionist Jew mafia that rules over this world and their needless practices. And when I say needless, I'm making the point that these people need to be eliminated from the earth so that this stuff doesn't go on anymore. It's also why I share this information. Free people from the lies and wake up enough people so we can put an end to the wrongdoing. But anyway, Kevin Durant, number 35, LeBron, number 23. You put these numbers together, what's it sum to? 58? Like Freemasonry, like secret society? Let's not forget that the real King James in Gematria sums to 35. The real King James became a Freemason at 35 and died at age 58, 23 years later. The word king equals 23. He died 23 years after becoming the Freemason king at 58. And the reason 58 is so special, again, Freemasonry equals 58, secret society 58. King James was a Freemason. Before that, he was a Rosicrucian, where the roots of modern Masonry are. Rosicrucians 58. Just like Solomon's Temple, like Jerusalem, like United States, like Craftsman. Very special number to Masonry and its history. We're living in a nation created by Freemasonry. We're talking about a sport created by Freemasonry, just like all the major American sports are. Basketball, baseball, football. Guarantee you soccer is too. What they call football in the majority of the world. There's a reason it's 11 on 11 in those sports. 11's the master number. This all comes back to the study of numbers, gematria, numerology. So anyhow, these two have a rap song supposedly. Rap 35, also 17, NBA 17. The Celtics lead the NBA with 17 championships. Here we are in 2017. Ohio's the 17th state. The Cavs were the 17th team to join the league. This news comes before the first game in Cleveland, Ohio of these NBA Finals. It's a Cleveland, Ohio radio station putting out the rumor about the song, supposedly recorded in 2011. If you take the word rap song, has Gematria matching up with Cavaliers. This news coming just before the first game in Cleveland, home of the Cavaliers. Let's not forget that Quicken equals 35, the name of the arena. Also, if you call this a rap track, notice the headline. Some say rap song, some say rap track. Rap song, rap track, they're both relevant. Rap track sums to 88 like rapper. Hip-hop, H the 8th letter. HH 88. 88's relevant to rap music, you know? As I explained, the Game 1 storyline of Rihanna being told to sit down had everything to do with the NBA Finals theme song by Kendrick Lamar, Humble, which came out on the same day LeBron James lost to the Bulls. Talked about that. Check out my video on that. Anyway, I was talking about how significant 88 is to these NBA Finals. Durant joined the Warriors July 4th, 88 days from his 28th birthday. Last year, the Warriors won 88 total games on the season, including the playoffs. The 88th win came 88 days from Steph Curry's birthday. This year, Game 4 will be 88 days from Steph Curry's birthday. Remember, this year has a lot to do with pi, the mathematical symbol. Steph Curry has the Pi Day birthday. He was born in 1988, just like Durant. The first year of the Pi Day celebration, March 14th, like 3.14. And with regards to the Warriors in California, California, one of two states with a gematria of 88. The other is Maryland, where Washington, D.C. is near, where Kevin Durant's from. So they said that this was, I mean, just read this sentence. Your media is just so ridiculous. It's just constantly contriving bullshit to steal people's attention. I mean, just listen to this paragraph right here. ESPN's Chris Haynes reported Monday that LeBron and KD recorded a track together during the 2011 NBA lockout. The song was apparently good enough to be considered for inclusion in Durant's 2012 film Thunderstruck. I mean, what does that even mean? Good enough to be considered, but not chosen? This is just made up bullshit news. The reason they did this, I think, is for the gematria of Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck equals 56. This news came on June 5th or 5/6. And Thunderstruck also sums to 79, which is the 22nd prime number. Basketball equals 22. So in this story, they compare LeBron. You know, it seemed like it was just a reason for them to showcase these players again. The two 35s, the man with 35 on his chest and the man with 35 coded into his nickname, King James. So they put up these stats. They talk about their career. I mean, in every shot, the 35 is right on display, right? They show these two back when LeBron was on the Heat. Apparently, LeBron's 14-4 against Durant. And here's what a lot of people will go over their head that they would never catch. 35 represents the Catholic Church. The word Catholic equals 35. Within the Catholic Church, there are the Freemasons, the Jesuit order. Jesuit order equals 144. See, all these numbers, or these two numbers, come up again and again throughout history with regards to the Catholic Church. JFK, the 35th president, killed on the first day of Sagittarius. Sagittarius equals 144 like Jesuit order. He was killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason. Again, the Jesuits, the Masons within the Catholic Church. Also, RFK, he died at 1:44 in the morning, June 6th. Today's the anniversary date of it. Robert Kennedy equals 66. Sirhan equals 66. RFK equals 35. Dead at 1:44 in the morning. How many years ago today? It's 2017. Died in 68, so 49 years ago today. Supposedly. Can't help but notice back then how LeBron wore 6. 35 plus 6 also equals 41, like the word king itself as well. So then they put up this stat about how LeBron beat Durant when they were both on different teams in the 2012 NBA Finals. That was 5 years ago. They talk about how he won in 5 games. Game 5 in gematria also sums to 45, like king. Also 68 like basketball. King 41. Basketball 68. That was part of the reason I said that the Cavs would close out Boston in Game 5 once that series began. So then they put up this stat to remind us. On Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the Warriors blew out the Cavs by 35 points. And if you go back and watch what I said that day, Up to that point, I was leaning towards the Cavs beating the Warriors in the NBA Finals. And they still could. But when I saw this 35-point blowout on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I said, well, maybe they're trying to tell us that the Warriors have LeBron's number this year because if LeBron loses in the finals, he'll be 3-5, kind of like 35. And again, King James 35, blowing out on Martin Luther King Jr. Day by 35. This presentation of slides, by the way, I put them all up as they were. I'm not changing the order. This is just how it's presented. And right after this slide, this is the next slide they give you. They got LeBron with his tongue hanging out like Jordan, who also wore 23. They write, but it's unlikely King James puts much stock in that game. As if, maybe this isn't that big of a deal to LeBron. This story just came out yesterday. But notice just how they call him King James after the 35-point blowout slide. Again, the media knows gematria. This is how I figured it out. I figured it out by observing them. I just showed you that story the other day, how they said LeBron was robbed at 944, his 9,440 square foot house. I mean, how do they know so specifically? Just think about why they would even write that in the article. Does it matter that his home was robbed at 944? Does it matter that his home is 9,440 square feet? If you pay attention to the media, sentences like that are written every day. Information and numbers you don't need to know. And also, oftentimes it'll boggle your mind. I mean, what are you supposed to do when you read that sentence? LeBron James's 9,440 square foot house robbed at 9:44 in the morning. What are you supposed to do with that sentence? Go, wow, that's a weird coincidence. That's a weird coincidence. It's like most Americans who pay attention to the media and don't understand that this stuff is a mockery, they must say that word a lot. Wow, what a weird coincidence. It's not a coincidence, people. This is a mocking. This is a mocking. Remember, chosen one, what's on his back equals National Basketball Association. And, the other thing is, it's just amazing how people follow these athletes. I mean, they're as dumb as rocks. They never have anything worthwhile to say. Whenever you see LeBron or any of these people get interviewed, just what comes out of their mouth is just pure stupidity. And, again, they call this stuff programming. And you look at the masses, they're pretty dumb. And who do they look up to? They look up to these dumb athletes, these dumb celebrities who never say anything. Look at this response from LeBron. I've been to 6 straight finals, man. I'm the last person to ask about a regular season game, dude. Sorry. Man, shut the fuck up, you actor. This guy should be embarrassed. I mean, this guy should be embarrassed about his NBA career, honestly. Who remembers San Antonio, where he came out in game 1 with 33 minutes with a fake injury, hobbling off the court, and they put 33 minutes played up on the screen? LeBron James, this big, strong man who shies away when the game's on the line so often, doesn't show up, disappears. The whole league's scripted around him, and so many of you think that they want to make this guy the greatest of all time. I don't see that at all. Not at all. They make this guy seem like an enigma, that you can't figure him out. He just, he won't show up certain times. He won't take the shot. He won't be accountable for his actions. He doesn't have, he's just, he's supposed to be just like a mental mind fuck, honestly. And that's all this is supposed to be. That's what the world of professional sports is. You have this mediocre half-talent Tom Brady in the scripted NFL who can hardly run. All he can do is throw little slant passes over the middle. His receiver's always wide open and run for days. It's all just part of a show that's not supposed to make any sense. LeBron. If he had any balls, if he was a man, he'd come out and admit. He'd admit he stole everyone's time, He'd admit that his whole career, his whole life was set up and rigged for these Zionist Jews who own him. Also, one last point, they said that this song came out of Spider Studios. Just after hours, it was reported that LeBron James and Kevin Durant had recorded a rap track together during the lockout at the beginning of the 2011-12 NBA season. A portion of their song has been released to the public courtesy of Spider Studios. Look at Spider Studios. 61, like finals, like Ohio, like time. These guys probably recorded the song after game 2 for this story, if it's even true, Just like how when they said Donald Trump, that recording showed up out of nowhere 33 days before the election of him talking about how he can just grope women. I bet you anything he recorded that with the news just hours before it went out. Probably wasn't even really from 2005. All of these people are in deception, selling out the masses. People aren't getting it. Donald Trump, LeBron James, both actors, again in the White House on the same date. For the record, Game 3 coming up will be June 7th. Warriors won 67 games this year. West equals 67. King equals 67. It's also a date with 23 numerology. King also equals 23. King James dead 23 years after becoming the Freemason king. So this Jewish guy who's part of the story about the rap track, remember, Zionist Jews control the entertainment industry from basketball to hip-hop music. He predicts that the Cavs will win Game 3 with a score of 112 to 108. And I wonder where this Zionist Jew pulled that score out of. Let's not forget, Zionist 112, Judaism 112, theater 112. And that's exactly what the NBA is. Theater. Golden State Warriors also sums to 108, you know. The last 2 games, Kevin Durant has scored the 108th point of the game for the Warriors. 2 years ago, when the Warriors won the NBA Finals, they scored 108 in Game 1. And never forget, that same game went to overtime, 98 to 98, 98 days after the Warriors and Cavs had last played in the regular season, February 26th, 2015. LeBron James had his season high in that game, 42 points. The number retired for Nate Thurmond with the Warriors and Cavs. And after that game, I said, there's your confirmation that the NBA Finals will be Warriors and Cavs. Each year, from the start of the season, showing you why it would be a Warriors and Cavs final. Always scripted by the numbers. Again, how did I figure out gematria, people? They put the numbers in front of you. Zionist Jews run the media. Gematria is a Jewish practice. It's called having common sense and putting 1 plus 1 together. That's how I figured out gematria. I have common sense. I can put 1 plus 1 together, which sadly is something that almost no one can do in this world, as simple as it is. Almost no one has common sense. Almost no one can add 1 plus 1 equals 2. And I used to not believe this, but I was told this by a very old man when I was in my early 20s. My landlord, when I moved to Seattle, he said, "Oh my God, you're the rarest thing in the world. You have common sense, and you can put the pieces of the puzzle together. You have eyes to see." And I didn't want to believe that old man then. I wanted to think there were more people out there, you know, who had what I had. And sure enough, there are, but we're as rare as diamonds. You know, most people, they can't see the most obvious. They can't see how the Zionist Jews mock them by the numbers every single day of their life. Even when someone such as myself comes and shows it as clearly as I do. People worship these Zionist Jews. That's too bad, because the Zionist Jews, they don't think anything of these people who worship them. They think they're the goyim. The worthless little goyim. The slave race meant to work and pay taxes, as expressed in the Talmud. And if you've ever read your Bible, I mean, the Bible is just, you know, it's conditioning for the goyim, just like the news media is that they control. I mean, you read the Bible. If you read the Bible and think the Bible's the Word of God, then according to God, it's okay for slavery. It's okay to murder certain people. It's okay to, you know, it's okay to do a lot of horrible things in the Bible according to God, if you think the Bible's the Word of God. Also, the Bible, it, you know, tells people to pay their taxes. God wants people to pay their taxes to the tyrants. You know, gullible people. They believe the news. They believe the religious texts. That's why the Zionist Jews rule over them. Because they know how gullible and easily conquered the masses are. Look at these ridiculous sports games. All these little Jews on the sideline telling you what to think the whole game. Who wants to listen to Jeff Van Gundy? You know? What's Jeff Van Gundy and his fat midget Jew brother doing out on a basketball court coaching anyone? What are they doing commentating games? What do they know about basketball? What do Jew midgets know about basketball? You know? I played a lot of basketball. I don't remember any good Jewish basketball players coming up. Not a single one. Weird how they dominate the sport. Weird how David Stern said in the 80s the NBA wasn't about basketball, it was about building stars. So what we're looking at here is the death of King James 84 days before his birthday. Let's never forget LeBron James was born in 84. King James, again, dead at 58. The Rosicrucian, the Freemason. He ruled over 3 kingdoms for 22 years. He achieved that when he was 57, number of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. And let's not forget that King James became a king at 13 months on a date with 113 numerology. Scottish equals 113. We've seen both of these games of the NBA Finals. The Warriors won Game 1 with 113. The Cavs lost Game 2 with 113. It's all about King James. It's all about Scottish Rite Freemasonry. It's who runs the show. Also, the day that King James died, the death of King James. If LeBron James loses in these finals, he's going to be 3-5. The date King James died, date was 71 numerology. Here we are in the 71st season of the NBA. It's also a date with 55 numerology. And just so you see this, King James also has the gematria 55. All of these numbers are relevant. Last year, the Cavs won on the real King James's birthday. The Warriors went down with 89 points. Saw a big ritual in the UK on the 154th day of the year. Just talked about that. And again, here's the part about King and King James. Dead 23 years after becoming the Freemason. King James became a Freemason April 15th, 1601. He was born in 1566. Here it is right here. He was initiated as a Freemason into the Lodge of Scone in Perth in 1601 at the age of 35. From the book The Hiram Key by Christopher Knight. And let's not forget that Knight's a 33 name, probably a Freemason himself. Also, let's not forget that James, who has a Bible named after him where everything in the Bible is 223, ruled over 3 kingdoms for 22 years. The NBA Finals also equals 322. And for one last Freemason salute on the basketball court, the dimensions of the NBA basketball court are 94 feet by 50 feet. 90 times 50 is 4,500. 4 times 50 is 200. 4,500 plus 200 is 4,700. And by the way I just multiplied, that's a good skill for everyone to learn. If you learn to multiply piece by piece, digit by digit, makes multiplication really simple. I learned how to do this in 3rd grade, honestly, and I used to blow my teacher away. They actually skipped me to 5th grade because I was so good at math in 3rd grade. And I sat in 5th grade for years. I had the same teacher year after year. But true story, I was so good at math in 3rd grade, they just put me in 5th grade. Anyhow, learn to multiply by it like that. It's so simple. And it just makes math easy. You got to learn how to do math the right way. Most people aren't good at math because they had teachers that weren't good at math. And sadly, I used to be an elementary school teacher. I mean, you get in the conference, almost all teachers are bad at math, and they admit it. And that's what happens when you make education a low-paying job. You get people who aren't qualified. And then when you have people who aren't qualified, guess what? They don't teach the kids right. And then as a nation, you end up having a bunch of people that aren't really good at anything. They're not good at math. They're not good at reading, writing, thinking. It's what we have going on in America. That's why I speak out. I'm trying to help people out. This is a nation of people who need help. It's also a nation of people who don't want help. It's a nation of people who like being slaves to the Jews and the lies. They like worshiping the lies. They like giving all their money back for the lies. They like paying for these shitty movies, this shitty cable, this shitty food. All siphons up to the people who rule over them. But anyhow, 4,700 feet. 4,700 feet? Let's not forget the Freemasons have the 47th problem of Euclid about how to establish foundation. The word foundation equals 47, like framework. We have a court that's 4,700 square feet. Also, 94, big tribute to the Freemasons. If you write out 94, it sums to 147, like Freemason, like conspiracy, and a million more things. Last year in the baseball season, I showed why the Cubs' 94th win foreshadowed them winning in Game 7 on November 2nd. And it happened. From their 94th win to what was Game 7 of the World Series was 47 days later. Miguel Montero had the winning hit for their 94th win. Also, with regards to it being 94 by 50 feet, this sport, created in America by a Canadian. Both America and Canada have gematria of 50. And just in case you come here and try this, you'll see that America's 50 like the 50 states. If you type in Canada, you'll go, wait a minute, Zach told me it equaled 50. In Jewish gematria, it does. And, you know, for one more, possibly, in Sumerian gematria, Canada equals 144, just like the United States of America. This is another special number, 144. James Naismith was from Canada, created the sport in America, and, you know, the dimensions of the court, 94 by 50. If you just look at those two numbers, 94 plus 50, 144. 144 also represents time. Now that I think about it, all these sports are tributes and rituals to time. Time 144 like 47. Remember, the tropics are 47 degrees apart, just like the Freemason compass set at 47 degrees apart. Just like the tropics of this earth, which measure time. James Naismith, he died at age 78 in 1939. That was the year of the first men's college basketball championship, which was won by the numbers by the 33rd state, Oregon. They weren't the Ducks back then. They were the Webfoots. The Webfoots won in 39. Their opponent lost with 33 points to them. And notice, Webfoots in reverse Sumerian also 666. How interesting. But anyway, James Naismith, the creator of basketball, died in 39 after the first men's tournament. Notice the name Naismith 39. Also 93 like Saturn, the keeper of time. James Naismith, a lot of interesting gematria here, including 84 like United States of America, like Masonry, like secrecy, like King James, who died 84 days before his birthday. He also died 22 days after his birthday. He died 22 days after his 78th birthday. Basketball 22. And with regards to him dying at 78, Scottish Rite 78. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. It's also coded into the NBA Finals 78. Last year, the Cavs became the first team to win a Game 7 on the road since 78. They were the right city to do it. Cleveland has that 78 connection. But isn't it interesting? And it just goes to show. Freemasonry and numbers, these people aren't playing around. They do everything by this code. Everything means everything. You know, so many people want to come here and make fun of my work and go, man, this guy thinks everything's gematria. What do I expose? I expose everything that comes through the Zionist Jew media. That's what I expose. And everything that does come through the Zionist Jew media is gematria. This is their way of operating, the Kabbalah code. Kabbalism. So that's why we got this story about the rap track. This is why LeBron James set the triple-double or tied the triple-double mark the day he did. I'll tell you something else. One last thing about this triple-double. A lot of people, now that I've come out and said the Warriors, they've voiced their opinion and they're saying, Zach, you're wrong. The Cavs are going to win again this year. The Cavs could win. But this whole 25 thing belonging to the Warriors, it being the big number on the Super Bowl, I do still think the Warriors are going to take it. But I did make a prediction before the finals began that if LeBron got 2 triple-doubles, he would win the finals. And what some people are saying is the sweep riddle is that LeBron and the Cavs from this point on are now going to sweep the Warriors. A lot of my, or I shouldn't say a lot, but a few of my readers who've been around, they think the Cavs are going to win 4 straight games now over Golden State. It could happen. If that does happen, if the Cavs win 4 straight, I bet you anything LeBron gets a triple-double in there. And check this out. It would be LeBron's 9th triple-double, right? 9 has gematria 42 and 66, like the name LeBron James, 42 and 66. Again, this is all math, 42 and 66, straight from the New Testament, 42 and 66. The New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus, ends with the 66th book, Revelation, where the number 666 is taught about. Last year, LeBron, the first player to go to 6 straight finals since 66. So anyway, if LeBron were to win 4 straight from this point on, which is possible, the Cavs could do it. I don't think they're going to do it. But if it does happen, just remember, that would mean the series was won 4-2 by the Cavs. And LeBron will likely record his 9th triple-double. And again, triple-double, 58, like Freemasonry, like Rosicrucian, like secret society. Special numbers here. We just saw the ghost ship fire, the news of the arrests yesterday, June 5th, 185 days later. Number that connects to basketball as well. And let's not forget that the night of the ghost ship fire, the Cavs lost to Chicago. That was the first of 4 losses. They were swept by Chicago this year. And I mean, that should just tell everyone how scripted the league is. How can the number, or I guess they ended up being the number 2 seed, didn't they, the Cavs, because they bombed at the end of the year. But I mean, how can the Cavs get swept by the Bulls in the regular season, a team that barely made the playoffs? Humble. That song came out the same day LeBron lost to the Bulls, and everyone's saying if LeBron wins this year, he'll be the greatest of all time, surpassing Jordan. And just realize, all of these narratives are just contrived bullshit. Is Jordan really the greatest of all time? I mean, he never scored 100 points in a game. He didn't go to 10 straight NBA Finals like Bill Russell. So, I mean, who's to say who's the greatest of all time? Plus, these leagues the entire time have been scripted Jewish theater. The Zionist Jews have always controlled the NBA, just like how they've always controlled the Harlem Globetrotters. And I want you to think about this. Harlem Globetrotters. See my work on the death of the Harlem Globetrotter a little more than a year ago at age 89? The theme song for the Harlem Globetrotters is Sweet Georgia Brown. These Zionist Jews do not play around. Everything is done by the numbers. And of course, 89 also so important to the face of the league. LeBron James, King James, 89 is a Fibonacci number. It's the 11th Fibonacci number, the master number. You see? This is a religion. King James Bible. All right, truth seeker. Until next time.